Chapter 5 Business Risk Management and Coverage. Our group members consist of 6 persons, which is YASMIN SYAHIRAH binti Muhammad YUSOFF, ROHAIDA binti KAMARUDIN, DINAH ARDINI binti Muhammad ZAID, DIYANA MAISARA binti ABDUL NURUL ILLIYIN binti BAHARIZAN, and DIYANA binti ADSILIN.
Here is an overview of a brief explanation of our presentations. First, we will go over the chapter's introductions. Next up, we will be explaining 6 different types of risk. We will also explain the quality control and pre-shipment inspections, the methods, and lastly, the procedures of quality control and pre-shipment inspection. Risk management in the export and import business. Risk is an unavoidable aspect of international business. Risk management is an essential aspect of international business management as it is an aspect of any organization's operation. No business, especially managers, can make a strategic business decision transaction without roughly assessing the risk involved. In the export-import business, risk management is essential. Many investors and traders are turning to international trading now since the world is connected, and globalization has become the standard in this century. International trading provides a perfect option for a market to benefit and conduct successful business. Exporting and importing are 2 types of international trade that allow a business person to connect personally with all necessary suppliers and manufacturers, resulting in cost savings. Identifying and minimizing market, financial, and operational risks may be difficult while pursuing a high-growth strategy. Therefore, proper risk management will help balance risks to achieve strategic goals and extend in combating risk. Thus, our group will explain further about this topic.
There are several types of risk available, which are commercial, political, risk arising out of foreign laws, cargo, credit, and lastly, forex risk. The impact of commercial risk in the international market is greater than domestic market. Variations in demand and supply conditions are more unpredictable. This concern usually arises due to competition, longer transit time, inadaptability of the product, lack of knowledge about foreign markets, and various situations such as change in preferences. When we talk about business competition, we are dealing with the difficulties of different laws, language, and cultures. Most of them are borne by the exporters. The exporter is not aware of the conditions in the foreign market the way they are aware of domestic market. Long distances to travel along with cost and time implications distinguish international trade from domestic trade. Exporters cannot visit New York with the same ease from Sumatra to Kalimantan. If goods are not sold or price realization is lower than anticipated due to changes in demand or supply, the exporter has to bring back the goods, incurring additional freight costs or opt to sell the goods at a loss. Commercial risk can be minimized by using forecasting techniques and keeping a careful watch on the changing business conditions in the concerned country and also changes in the world economy. Exporters have to be prepared and anticipate to face any eventuality of problems that arise in the future, besides quick responding at the earliest hour.
Now, I will explain more about political risk. The first cause of political risk is changes in political power and policies. In most of the countries have ruling and opposition parties when a new government is selected and the opposition party comes into force, the policy of the opposition party could be a change. These changes include import and export policy and foreign business relationship with other countries. The second cause is coups, civil wars, and rebellion. These 3 things seriously affect the trade relationship due to have risk in trade. Next, wars between countries happen when one country retaliates against another by raising import tariffs or placing other restrictions on the other country's imports. Trade wars can commence if one country perceives that a competitor nation has unfair trading practices. And lastly, capture of cargo during war. there could be chance of capturing international cargo by enemies during war season. Therefore, the political risk under export and import trade also can be avoided by judicious selection of the country to which goods are imported or exported.
Next, I will continue with risks arising out of foreign laws. Risks arising out of foreign laws can be due to, first, because of different laws operating in domestic country. Second is because of expensive and complex litigation. In case of any disputes arising out of contract, this risk can be avoided by the appointment of arbitrator at the time of contract.
Cargo risk. Most of goods are transported by sea. Transit risks such as storm, fire, leakage, and explosion can be classified under cargo risk. It is possible to transfer the financial losses resulting from perils of sea and perils in transit to professional risk bearers, which cargo risk can be covered by taking an insurance policy. Risks are termed as perils in marine related literature. Perils can be divided into three types, which is marine perils, extraneous perils, and war perils. Marine perils is a natural occurrence or man-made mishap. Natural occurrence such as storm, earthquake, and lightning. Meanwhile, fire and smoke are example of man-made mishap. Extraneous perils is incidental perils that are caused due to fall in loading, unloading, and carrying. War perils is these perils are related to losses due to war, including civil war.
Now, I will explain about credit risk. First thing that we should know about credit risk is there are three important issues in relation to credit risk. First, exporter must have sufficient funds to offer credit to buyers abroad. Second, inability of payment by the importer or borrower to pay back debt. Third, exporter should be prepared to take credit risk. Next, we move to meaning of credit risk. First, once goods are sold on credit, risks arising in realizing the sale proceeds are known as credit risk. Second, risk may arise due to the inability of the buyers to pay on the due date. Third, even the buyer made the payment, situation may change in the buyer's country, such as funds do not reach the exporter. Lastly, we can solve this problem. We implement ECGC, or we also known as Export Credit Guarantee Corporation. ECGC will cover three types of issue, which is standard policy, specific policy, and financial guarantee.
Foreign exchange or forex is a risk occurs when the invoice is prepared in a foreign currency. If the foreign currency depreciates in terms of Malaysian ringgit, the exporter will receive lesser amount in Malaysian ringgit and vice versa. If the export bill is purchased or negotiated under an LC and the foreign currency undergoes fluctuation, then the bank will bear the risk. If there is an intervening difference in the exchange rate between the date of giving bill for collection and the date of realization, the exporter will stand to lose or gain depending on the trend in fluctuation. Foreign exchange risk can be hedged by using forward contract. The risk can also be avoided by invoicing in Malaysian ringgit.
And the last one is transferring risk to a third party. In other words, risk transfer involves one party assuming the liabilities of another party in a trade. This process is popular with the insurance agency. There are two methods of risk transfer, which are insurance policy and indemnification clause in contracts. In the insurance policy, purchasing is a standard method of transferring risk. When the exporter is purchasing the insurance, they are shifting financial risk to the insurance company. Insurance companies typically charge a fee and issue a premium for accepting such risk. For indemnification clause in contracts, This is a clause in which the party involved in the contracts compensates each other for any harm, liability, or loss arising out of the contract.
Next is quality control and pre-shipment inspection. Divided into 6 subtopics, the first one is quality control, second is pre-shipment inspection, methods of quality control and pre-shipment inspection, followed by procedures of quality control and pre-shipment inspection, inspection agencies, and lastly, exemption from inspection. Do you know why quality control and pre-shipment inspection of products is essential before the products are dispatched from the factory? It is to avoid recalls and reputational damage, plus the many other costly impacts of having sub-quality products associated with a company. In every branch of the world's consumer market, there is a brand which sets the standards for others to follow, one that fosters brand loyalty. Quality control, or QC, is a set of procedures to ensure the product or service meets the requirements of the client. Hence, an enterprise must create the specific standards to maintain their superior status with quality control and inspection procedures that ensure their product comply with standards in every country they export to. As part of these procedures, product quality is inspected at several intervals throughout production. Henceforth, corrective action must be taken in case of failure to do so. A plan must be devised to ensure that the product or service process goes on smoothly.
Alright, now, do you wonder what is pre-shipment inspection? Pre-shipment inspection is the process of inspection of a batch of goods just prior to shipment to determine the condition of shipment. Pre-shipment inspection is carried out by specialized agencies or councils as per buyers' specifications and quantity of exports. In many countries, government insists that the exportable items, if the item falls under the list of items placed for compulsory inspection category, should be subjected to pre-shipment inspection as part of attempts to ensure the quality of the items that is originated in those countries. However, exporters with good track record have been empowered to carry out such inspection on self-certification basis.
Next, method of quality control and pre-shipment inspection. There are 3 methods of quality control and pre-shipment inspection, which is consignment-wise inspection, in-process quality control, and self-certification. For the consignment-wise inspection, each actual consignment in packet is inspected by expert inspection agency. Then, the agency will conduct inspection on the basis of statistical sampling plan. While certificates are awarded after passing quality check, the certificate carry a validity period before which the item should be shipped. Most of the items undergo this inspection, except those which have in-house quality control process. Next, in-process quality control will deal with continuous process industry, such as paint, ceramic, printing ink, and so on. To become an approved export royalty unit, a company should possess the requisite infrastructure. Export unit get inspection certificate based on self-declaration. Lastly is self-certification. It is a recent introduction to the compulsory inspection scheme. Manufacturing unit having inbound responsibility for quality control have the freedom to self-certify their product.
Procedures of quality control and pre-shipment inspection. There are 3 sections for the procedures. First, consignment-wise inspection. The second section is in-process quality control, and the last is self-certification. Now, I will explain the first section, which is consignment-wise inspection. Under the consignment-wise inspection, each export consignment is inspected and tested by the recognized inspection agencies by selecting consignments based on statistical sampling plan to satisfy conformity of the product with the prescribed standards. 7 procedures apply to all notified products by the Export Inspection Council. Other than that, for which the in-process quality control system and self-certification are applicable. So, the first procedure is the application to Export Inspection Agency, EIA. Here, the exporter has to apply the prescribed intimation for inspection from earlier than the date of shipment, most recommended 7 days before the shipment date to avoid delays. The documents included here are a copy of the export contract, copy of letter of credit, details of packing specification, commercial invoice, cross-check, and declaration regarding the importer's technical specification. The second procedure is the deputation of the inspector. After getting the intimation for inspection from the EIA will appoint an inspector to conduct a pre-shipment inspection at the exporter factory or warehouse. The exporter also should keep the consignment in packed condition for export and ready for the inspection at the appointed place and time. The third procedure is inspection and testing. The appointed inspector will conduct the inspection randomly, but still refer to the agreed specifications, which should not be inferior to the notified specifications. If there is a case where such facilities to do the inspections are not available or needed, the inspector may inspect the private independent laboratories. Then, inspectors submit the field report based on this inspection and test results obtained. For the following procedure, packing and sealing of goods. After the third procedure, if the inspector is satisfied with the quality of goods, he will issue an order for packing in his presence. Then, after packing, the consignment is marked and sealed with the official seal of the EIA. The following procedure is the submission of the report to EIA and the issue of the inspection certificate. Then, based on the inspection report, the Deputy Director of EIA will issue the inspection certificate to the exporter in triplicate, which means in 3 copies. The original copy is to be submitted to the customs, the duplicate copy is dispatched to the importer, and the exporter for his record retains the triplicate copy. The sixth procedure is the issue of rejection notes. This procedure only happens if the inspection report submitted by the inspector is not favorable or cannot be approved. And then, the Deputy Director of EIA will issue a rejection note. And the last procedure of consignment-wise inspection is an appeal against rejection notes. The exporter can file an appeal against the order of the Deputy Director EIA. The appeal needs to be made within 10 days from the day of the issue of the rejection notes. And then, the EIA will hold a meeting of the appellate panel. The appellate panel will review the inspection report and then recheck the consignment if necessary. So, the appellate panel's decision is final and is binding on both the exporter and the Export Inspection Agency EIA.
Next is in-process quality control. Manufacturing units having continuous processing system are given an option to become export-worthy status units so that they get the inspection certificate on the basis of their own declaration. These units are highly quality conscious and conduct through quality control at each and every stage of production. And the last procedure of quality control and pre-shipment is self-certification. Certain manufacturing units are given the freedom to certify their own inspection certificates. The manufacturing with proven track records of maintenance of quality deserve to enjoy the freedom to issue pre-shipment inspection certificate themselves. The essential condition for this module is that the unit should not have received any single complaint during the past 3 years.
Inspection Agency. Inspection Agency consists of 2 types, which is Government Inspection Agency and Private Inspection Agency. Government Inspection Agency consists of United States Food and Drug Administration, Australian Quarantine and Inspection Services, Sri Lanka Standard Institute, Korea Food and Drug Administration. For Private Inspection Agency, consists of Trinity International for Weather, Global Resources for Leather and Furniture, SCE testing and allied service, textile.
Next, the Export Inspection Council or EIC of India. In 1963, the Government of India set up EIC under the Export Quality Control Inspection Act. Under the Council, there are export inspection agencies, namely EIAs, consisting of 5 offices with a network of 38 sub-offices and laboratories to ensure there is a backup plan for all running activities. EIA's role is crucial, although liberalization of the trade regime took place. Nowadays, self-certification is the normal requirement needed for abundance of items, but certification of exports remain compulsory for fish and fishery products, dairy, poultry, meat products, and honey. Furthermore, they also contribute in training and awareness for overall upgradation of their quality and knowledge system to fulfill international requirements.
In applying for exemption of inspection, an applicant must meet the following requirements. First, a production enterprise applying for the exemption of inspection of import and export commodities shall have a perfect quality assurance system. Second, the quality of import and export commodities for which exemption of inspection has been applied should be kept constantly stable, and the standard rate of the inspection by commodity inspection organizations should reach 100% for 3 years running. Third, Chinese end users of import commodities or foreign end users of export commodities of China do not object to the application for exemption of inspection. However, application for exemption of inspection is not to be accepted for import and export commodities concerning safety, hygiene, and having the following special requirements. First, cereals and oils, toys, cosmetics, and electrical appliances. Import commodities covered by the Safety and Quality License Management. Commodities that deteriorate easily or bulk goods. Commodities whose prices and settlement must be made according to components and contents as listed in commodity inspection certificates required by contracts. And lastly, packing containers used for importing and exporting dangerous goods.
That's all from us. We hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching.